Hey super buddies, so I've been getting a lot of hype lately about my zombie plans, okay? I've made 2 videos about zombie plans. The first one, I'll admit, I was only thinking of myself because I live in a desert, okay? I live in New Mexico, so I was only thinking about surviving in the desert, and there's people who's just like, well, I live in Canada, and there's no desert over here, you know, I can't do it. So then I tried to make another one. Talked about how you can also, like, be in a forest and stuff, but the problem with being in a forest is that you can't see the zombies coming up and sneaking up on you. So I talked about, like, maybe you should just, like, camp out in the field so that way you can see the zombies from, like, far off. And people are just like, zombies can also see you if you can see the zombies. Well, for one, they are decaying little freaks, okay? And so their eyeballs aren't working as good as yours. So they're basically just going off of smell. And that's the only reason why they'll find you anyways, because of the smell. So if you're in the forest, they'll smell you. If you're in the city, they'll smell you. If they're in the field, they'll smell you. Desert, smell you. You know, it's all about the smell. So don't worry about them trying to see you or anything like that. You have to be in a spot where you can see them. And if you can see them from a couple 100 feet or a couple 100 yards off, then you can go ahead and prepare so you can, like, you know, pop them off real quick. I've also said, do not go to convenience stores or anything like that. Make sure you already have all the food you need before the zombie apocalypse even starts. And people are just like, no, I'm going to a convenience store anyway. And the problem with going to convenience stores is the looting. And people start looting and people start fighting. You know, Black Friday's crazy, but the zombie apocalypse, I mean, that day's going to be ridiculous. And people are going to be, like, killing each other over a loaf of bread and stuff like that. So make sure you already have all the food you need necessary before the zombie apocalypse starts. You know, store the food. I've also said, do not drive a car, because the streets will be gridlocked, okay? And when the highway's gridlocked, you're not going anywhere. And you may think, like, well, I'll just hop into the shoulder and drive along. Well, don't you think anybody else has already thought of that? Like, shoulder's gonna be gridlocked as well. People say, like, they'll be exposed if they're not in the car or anything like that. Well, they're not going anywhere if they're in a car either, so you'll never get away from the zombies. Somebody commented and said, I'm gonna ride my skateboard out. Like, well, that's a good idea. Skateboard, you can move pretty quickly. You can go in between cars and everything like that. And so skateboard's a good way to go. Motorcycle is also a good way to go because it's also fast. It's as fast as a car. But you can also go in between traffic and weave through. You can go off-road and all that stuff. So I suggest a motorcycle. You can use a skateboard if you want, or a bicycle, or whatever you think you can use. Just don't use a car because it's just not a good idea. After a couple weeks and the zombie apocalypse is already taken over and, like, a lot of people have died and everything like that, then you can use a car to transport large amounts of people. Now, I've been watching The Walking Dead lately, and the problem with The Walking Dead is that a bunch of strangers get together and try to survive, and it's not working very well. People keep fighting, arguing, you know, and there's actually been some people turning on each other and killing each other. And so I say, if you're gonna survive, get together with a bunch of friends and family and stuff like that. Colonize with them, because if you colonize with a bunch of strangers, it's just not gonna end up very good. So hopefully this zombie plan has worked out a lot better than all my other ones, and that I'll get a lot more negative comments, because people think I'm an idiot for all my other ones. I thought they were pretty good. So, I'm gonna go and leave a link somewhere on this page to the other 2 zombie plans, so that way you can compare all 3 of them together. So don't forget to be a part of my super group by liking me on Facebook, be part of my super group, subscribe to my channel, like this video, and since I do these things every single day, I will see you tomorrow.